Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nasalli ala rasulihil kareem. So moving on, we're now discussing the huruful jarra, which have the meaning of qasam. Now, before we actually go into his text, let me just give you a few notes of mine. He does mention some of these things, but I just mention it here before we start off. So when you have a qasam, there are three things. An element, any qasam must have three elements. The first element is fa'lul qasam. What is it? The fa'lul qasam, the actual verb. The second thing is a muqsam bihi, that thing upon which you are taking an oath. So the thing which you're taking an oath upon is called the muqsam bihi. And the third is muqsam alay. Why are you taking an oath? For example, we have here uqsimu billahi la asduqanna fil hadith. La asduqanna al haditha, both are possible. Now in here, the fa'lul qasam is uqsimu billah. That's fa'lul qasam. The muqsam bihi is the word Allah. This is the muqsam bihi, the being upon whom you're taking an oath. And the asduqan al-hadith is called, this is called the asduqan al-hadith, this is called muqsam alay, and we normally know it as jawab al-qasam. When we do i'rab and tarkib, jawab al-qasam. Okay? You follow? Now, generally speaking, the most commonly this is removed. You do have it, la uqsimu bihadha al-badal, la uqsimu ya uqsimu, but usually, wallahi, yasin, wal Quran al Hakim, wal Kitab al Mubin, all of these are, the qasam is mahdhuf, and the waw takes the place of the fa'il. So the jar majrur become muta'alliq to the hidden fa'il. Okay? You got it? Now, the jawab al qasam, now let's put it this way, let's understand. That the qasam, what does qasam do? Why would you take an oath on a sentence? When you're saying something, why would you take an oath? To create emphasis. So now to balance off between the first sentence, which is the qasam, and the jawab al-qasam, you have to balance off the emphasis. Because if you say wallahi, that's like a lot of emphasis. Zaydun qa'imun. There's no emphasis in there, so it's not balanced. So you try to create a balance and make both of them have an equal amount of emphasis. So the jawab al-qasam must have some sort of emphasis to balance off with the qasam, balance off with the emphasis which is portrayed in the qasam. So for example, it's going to be inna muthaqqala. So for example, wal fajr. And then you have the qasam, inna rabbaka labil mirsad. So you have all of the qasams, and then you have the jawab al-qasam is inna rabbaka labil mirsad. So then inna is now an emphasis on the jawab al-qasam. And also you have lam al-muzahlaqa as well, so it creates double emphasis. Or in mukhaffafa, tallahi in kunna la fi dhalalim mubin. So tallahi is a qasam, then you bring in mukhaffafa, and then lam is lam al-fariqa. You got it? Yes? This is in a jumla ismiya. This is jumla ismiya. If jumla fa'liya, madhi, you put qad wa shamsi wa duhaha until the end, all of the qasam. Qad aflaha man zakkaha. This is also an emphasis and jawab al-qasam. Then you have lam al-maftuha. Lam maftuha means basically lam muzahlaqa or lam al-ibtida. فَوَرَبِّكَ لَنَسْأَلَنَّهُمْ. Okay? Now, this is what they call lamun jawab al-qasam, lam al-qasam. It comes in jawab al-qasam. Or if you have a ma nafiya, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى مَا وَدَّعَكَ. Even though it's not emphasis, but this is one of them. Because if you have an affirmative, you would have had to either have qad or lam with a nun tawqid. And if it's negative, then you can add ma. Okay? Or if you've got la nafiya, that's fine. وَأَقْسَمُوا بِاللَّهِ جَهْدَ أَيْمَانِهِمْ لَا يَبْعَثُ اللَّهُ مَنْ يَمُوتُ. So if you categorize these, we can say this is jumla ismiya. So in jumla ismiya, you either have in inna or in mukhaffafa. And then we can have jumla fa'liya. If the jumla fa'liya, these two are muthbat, these two are manfi. Muthbat, and this is manfi. So the muthbat, you either have qad or lam al-maftuha. فَوَرَبِّكَ لَنَسْأَلَنَّهُم. Or you can have manfi with ma or la. So in manfi, when you have the ma and la, there's no emphasis, because ma and la doesn't show emphasis, simple negation. When it's muthbat, then you bring a emphasis. So these four have emphasis, and the last two don't have emphasis. Understood? Okay. So now moving on to the text. He says here, وواو القسم. So again, واو القسم حرف العطف. Sorry, he's talking about the huruf al-jarra. He said the واو القسم is a type of حرف الجار. وهي تختص بالاسم الظاهر. This is wrong. It can only come on اسم الظاهر. You can't have, for example, والله والرحمن. You can have by Allah, by Rahman, لأدربن. Yeah, لأصلين. Okay? By Allah or by Rahman, I will do something. But فلا يقال وك. You can't have an ism al-dhamir with wow. Correct? Yes? So that's the first thing. It has to come with ism al-dhahir. Ta'ul qasam. This is the same thing. وهي تختص بالله وحده. This is مخصوص بإثم الظاهر and only with the word Allah. The Arabs do not use this word in anything other than the word Allah. You can't even say Tar-Rahman. فلا يقال Tar-Rahman. You can't say Tar-Rahman. You have to say Tallahi. Only Tallahi. So the word wow can be used for anything. Wat-tini wa zaytun. Allah, not Allah. But only Zahir. And the word Ta is only for Allah and the word Allah, not even any other names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَقَوْلُهُمْ تَرَبِّ الْكَعْبَةِ شَاذ. We've heard a few poems or a few Arabs saying تَرَبِّ الْكَعْبَةِ. We say this is khilafun al-qiyas. We don't do qiyas upon this. This is not the standard. Okay. وَبَاءُ الْقَسَمِ. You can have a ba for qasam. وَهِيَ تَدْخُلُ عَلَى الظَّاهِرِ وَالْمُضْمَرِ. This can be used both. بِاللَّهِ وَبِالرَّحْمَنِ وَبِكَ. For Allah, other than Allah, ismul zahir, ismul dhamir. So the most flexible is ba, then waw, then ta. Because ba is for anything. Zahir and mudmar, ismul jalala wa ghayru lafzil jalala. Waw is for zahir and ghayr zahir. No, waw is for zahir only, whether it's Allah or non-Allah. And ta'ul qasam is for zahir only and only when it's the word Allah. Understood? Yes? So these huruf al-qasam, these are huruful qasam. So waw, ta and ba. Okay? And then he says, wala, is there a question? No, the lam in la'amruka, that's not the qasam, that's for emphasis. And the amruka itself, the whole jumla, la'amruka. That is, so basically you say la'amruka ay la'amruka qasami. So in the lam itself is not considered, according to majority of the scholars, as a harful qasam. They will say the amruka, that's like a qasam in a whole sentence. Amruka qasami. My oath is on your age. Not the lam itself. The lam is like ibtida. And the whole jumla ismiya with the khabar mahdhuf, that becomes the qasam. Is that understood? Yeah, but what's the whole verse? لَعَمْرُكَ. So لَعَمْرُكَ إِنَّهُمْ. Yeah. So what he's saying here, so lam is not for the qasam. What we're saying here, amruka is mubtada. The khabar is mahdhuf. لَعَمْرُكَ قَسَمِي. That the list becomes this sentence shows qasam. And this is jawab al-qasam. So the lam itself is not for qasam. The lam is just for like a lam al-ibtida for emphasis. On my oath is on your age, that. Do you understand? Yes. Because of the khabar mahzuf. Got it? Okay. So la budda lil qasami min al jawab. As mentioned before, the qasam must have a jawab. وهي جملة تسمى المقسم عليه, and it's the jumla called مقسم عليه, or also called جواب القسم as we know it. So you say فإن كانت موجبة يجب دخول. If it is موجبة, then you must have لام في الاسمية والفعلية. You must have the lam. For example, والله لزيد لام الابتداء, والله لأفعلن. Here again لأفعلن كذا. So you must have a لام الاسمية and فعلية. Okay. وإن في الاسمية. If it's jumla ismiya, then you must have inna and possibly lam as well. Yes? And وإن كانت منفية, if it's a negative sentence, وجب دخول ما ولا. You need to have ma and la. For example, والله ما زيد بقائم, والله لا يقوم زيد. Okay? So he's mentioned it here as mujaba and manfiya. Manfiya is la and ma, and in mujaba he's got ismiya and fa'liya. In ismiya you can have ismiya and fa'liya, you can have lam. And in ismiya alone, you can have inna. Obviously, inna can't come on a fa'liya. Following?
And they were to say to you,
Yes.
you've got
Okay. وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ قَدْ يُحْذَفُ حَرَفُ النَّفْيِ لِزَوَالِ اللَّبْسِ.
any item from next, pay 10 pounds, any item is given to you. It's a permissible.
So he says here, تَاللَّهِ تَفْتَأُ تَذْكُرُ يُوسُف. That in a qasam, you are allowed to remove the negative particle if there is no iltibas, confusion. So for example, in تَاللَّهِ تَفْتَأُ. تَفْتَأُ is a فعل ناقص, originally ما فتئة. What is it? ما فتئة, and the mudari be لا يفتأ. So this is double negative, because fati'a, la yazalu, ma zala, ma bariha, all of these are double negative, which creates a meaning of positive, meaning not come to an end. So you will not stop, meaning you will continue to. So ma zala, you will not come to an end. So ma zilta tadhkuru, you will continue to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it means you will not stop remembering. So these double negatives. So what he's saying here is when you have this word tafta'u, it's really supposed to be tallahi la tafta'u. That's how it's used. But because there's no possibility of confusion, there's no possibility of, is it lubs or loops? I'm getting confused. I think it's loops. Before that, loops, isn't it? I think we did a loops before somewhere. So I'm not really sure of this harakah. Yes, whatever it is, I'll have to double check on that one. Because it's no confusion here. It doesn't mean you will. If you say tafta, you will stop remembering Yusuf. You can tell straight from the context that's not what's being said. So when you can remove the negative particle after the harf al-qasam, when there's no fear of confusion, then you can have tallahi tafta'u tadhkuru Yusuf, and you can remove the la. So tallahi la tafta'u tadhkuru Yusuf. Understood?
Those that are
Yes? Everybody following?
the bait.
Okay. And he's saying here, وَيُحْذَفُ جَوَابُ الْقَسَمِ إِن تَقَدَّمَ مَا يَدُلُّ عَلَيْهِ أَوْ تَوَسَّطَ الْقَسَمِ. What he's saying basically here, زَيْدٌ قَائِمٌ وَاللَّهِ. If you were teaching year 1 class, and to make it easy for them, we would say here, زَيْدٌ قَائِمٌ جَوَابُ الْقَسَمِ مُقَدَّمٌ. So we would say to them for baby language, جَوَابُ الْقَسَمِ مُقَدَّمٌ قَسَمْ مُؤَخَّرٌ. Yes? No complication. But when you Nahw, that's wrong. You can't have that. You can't have Jawab al-Qasam muqaddam. The Qasam always comes after, the Jawab al-Qasam, the Muqsam alay, always comes after the Qasam. So Wallahi, what's the Jawab al-Qasam, what's the Muqsam alay of Wallahi? You don't mention it. But we say here, Yadullu alayhi, Zaydun qa'imun, tells us what's mahdhuf here. Yes? So Zaydun qa'imun, Wallahi means Wallahi Zaydun qa'imun. So the ma qablahu yadullu ala ma ba'dahu. What comes before Wallahi tells us what should come after it. You can't get Jawab Qasam Muqaddam according to majority. Some may have said you can't do this. Same happens in short as well. أو توسط القسم. If you have Zaydun Wallahi qa'imun, you could just say here simply this is Qasam, this is Jawab al-Qasam, but no, you can't do that. You have to say Zaydun Mubtada, qa'imun is a khabar, and then Wallahi, the Qasam of this is mahdhuf and is understood from the context. That's what he's saying. Understood? Everybody, G.
If you buy one and you set them free, that's fine. But imagine I sell you a slave and I say to you, Zaka, buy this slave for £100, but you have to sell it free. No, but I'm making a condition to you that you have to.
Well, the question is that can lam not? See, what happens is that if you remember, it says here that you must have a lam in the Jawab al-Qasam. So they call that lamun muwatti'atun lil qasam. So sometimes the lam indicates that a qasam is mahzuf. For example, if you look in like Dalil al-Falihin, the hadith of Kitab al-Tawbah, you have here lallahu afrahu. No, it comes in lallahu afrahu bitawbati abdihi min ahadikum saqata ala ba'irihi wa qad adallahu fi ardin falat. So afrah, so lallahu. So we're saying here, this lam is, some call this lam al-qasam. But the muhaqqiqun of the opinion, no, lam is not qasam. Lam is showing you that wallahi is mahzuf. Wallahi lallahu. So some have called this lam al-qasam, but the muhaqqiqun have said, no, it's not lam al-qasam. This lam is a jawab, because the jawab al-qasam must have emphasis. Either inna or lam al-ibtida or something. So the wallahi is mahzuf, that indicates it. So some will call it lam al-qasam, And when you mean by lam al-qasam, not as a harfun jar. Because if it was a qasam, all the qasams have a harfun jar after billahi. And it'll be la'amruki, la'amrika, if it was a qasam. Correct? Like tallahi, wallahi, billahi. So this indicates that there's a qasam implied somewhere. Does that clarify the question?
Who's benefiting? One of the parties is benefiting. Therefore, this sale is not permissible.
Yeah.
So imagine, you sell a car and you say to the person.
In the example, in the verse, la'amruka, in there the khabar is mahdhuf, la'amruka qasami. In other examples, the qasam is mahdhuf before it, wallahi. So it's not like standard, it has to be khabar or it has to be this. It depends on the context. But the lam itself indicates, is an indicator and a hint towards the qasam, not actually the qasam itself. Okay? Does that clear it up?
Then that's fine.
Okay. You following? Okay. Yes, any questions before we move on to the next particle? The next particle we have is an. Now, an, the primary meaning of an is bu'd and mujawaza. What does bu'd mean? Far away, distance yourself from, or distance something. For example, ramaytu sahma anil qaws. Physically, when you say I threw the arrow, the arrow from the bow. So ramaytu sahma anil qaws. So the qaws, the sahm is going away from the bow. So you say an bu'd. Yes, it's surpassing. Raghibtu anil amri. I am disinclined. My inclination is going away from the matter. So this is one of the primary meanings of an. Lil-bu'di wal-mujawaza. Bu'd is to be distant and mujawaza is to pass it. It's to go past it. Like how the sahm goes past the qaws, to go away from it. That's a primary meaning. This is not in the book, this is also some other notes. Sometimes it comes in the meaning of ba'da, after. For example, it comes in the Quran, amma qalilin latusbihunna nadimin. Ay ba'da qalilin. So amma qalilin, ay ma is za'ida, and an ma, and this an here means ba'da. So ba'da qalilin latusbihunna nadimin. Sometimes it has the meaning of ala. وَمَنْ يَبْخَلْ فَإِنَّمَا يَبْخَلُ عَنْ نَفْسِ. أي مَنْ يَبْخَلْ فَإِنَّمَا يَبْخَلُ عَلَى نَفْسِ. Ala means the consequences will fall upon him. Okay. Ta'lil, reason. وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَارِكِي آلِهَتِنَا عَنْ قَوْلِكَ. We are not going to leave our gods عَنْ قَوْلِكَ because of what you say. This an here is for ta'lil, reason. Okay. You can also have it in the meaning of min. هو الذي يقبل توبة عن عباده أي من عباده. And you can also have it in the meaning of badal, in exchange for, in lieu of. واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا. Fear that day when no soul will be able to recompense on behalf of any other soul anything. So these are some secondary meanings of an. So the primary meaning is this, is mentioned in all books. للبعد والمجاوزة. Sometimes you can have the meaning of regarding, but I haven't seen the books of Nahw mention this, regarding. يسألونك عن اليتامى. So I don't know which meaning that fall under. يسألونك عن اليتامى, regarding the yatama. I don't know what meaning, I haven't seen it, but that's also one meaning it comes regarding. I don't know what the Arabic term for that will be, but it comes in the meaning of regarding as well. يسألونك عن الخمر, يسألونك عن الأهلة. Okay, so ba'da, after, ala, on, against, ta'lil, because of, min, from, and badal, in exchange for. Okay, and that's what he says in the text. An وهي للمجاوزة, and it's from mujawaza. نحو رميت السهم عن القوس إلى الصيد. I threw the arrow from the bow towards the target and the prey. Everybody following? Yes, any questions? Okay. The next word we have after that is ala. Okay, ala. Ala wahiya lil isti'la'i. Ala is for isti'la. Isti'la means to be above something, on top. Okay, for example, Zaydun ala sath. Zayd is on the roof. Okay. So and a few other, that's all he's mentioned in the books, but there's a few other meanings here. This isti'la can be haqiqatan, literally. One thing is literally on top of the other. Or it can be majazan, meaning not literally on top physically, but ma'nawi, meaning or abstract way. So alal fulki tuhmalun, you are boarded onto ships. Aw majazan faddalna ba'dahum ala ba'd. we give some of you virtue over others. So you're not on physically, but above in stage and in rank. So ala for isti'la, authority, position. It can also have the meaning of fi. وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةَ عَلَى حِينِ غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا, i.e. fi حِينِ غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. He entered, i.e. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he entered back into the city when they were, they were just not on the toes. معنى اللام التعليل, reason. وَلْتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ, so you glorify and you praise and exalt Allah because He has guided you. Okay, so here, this lam is in the meaning of, ala is in the meaning of reason, like lam. Meaning of ma'a, along with. وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ. So along with, here you can say, here is not with, but with is love or despite. So they spend money despite having love for the wealth. They want the wealth, but they're still spending it. So ala, despite. Ma'na mean, from. وَإِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ, when they take the measurement from the people. So ala here has a meaning. We have to remember when, as I mentioned at Tazmeen video, is that when you have a harfun jar in another meaning, there's also an element. So for example, they took وَعَاتُ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ. So it doesn't mean here ma'a hubbihi. It means ma'a in terms of what we understand simply, but the element of ala is still in there. It's not simply ala means ma'a full stop. It means ala has a meaning we understand to be ma'a, but there's a hidden, the element of ala and certain aspects of the ala meaning are also included. So don't just say, oh, it means that full stop. Think deeper, that why has this been used? What ala element is there? Because no point just using one word and another without any meaning, any faida. So yes, this harfun jar is in the meaning of another harfun jar, but along with this, there's an element of the original harfun jar. So إِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ, the meaning here, the primary or the easier meaning to understand is minan nas, but the ala has a meaning. For example, here would be إِذَا اكْتَالُوا عَلَى النَّاسِ يَسْتَوْفُونَ, when they take from the people, but Allah has authority. So when they take from the people and they have the upper hand, they take advantage, yastawfun. So Allah means it's yastawfu minan nas, but the word Allah has been used to show authority. That means they had advantage in a stronger position. So all the huruf and jarra, when they have ta'aqub and tanawub, they use in one each other's place, is to give double meaning, is to kill two birds with one stone. That you can figure out from the context. It doesn't mean ala, it means min, but the ala has been used to say, well, there's two meanings being given here. One is the yastawfuna minan nas, one is the maf'ul bihi ghaysa, one maf'ul bihi meaning, or one is the ala, the authority and upper hand meaning. Have you understood this? Yes? وَبِنَاء مَعْنَى الْبَا, it can come in the meaning of be. حَقِيقٌ عَلَيَّ. So again here, it is worthy for me that I only say the truth. So meaning worthy of me, I should only say the truth. And ala means a responsibility as well. So ala has a meaning of isti'la. So the meaning is ba, haqiqan comes with ba. So the meaning of ba is the original meaning implied. But because the ala has a meaning of responsibility, authority, the ala has been used as well. حقيق ala alla qula. Okay, sorry. Okay. Istidrak. This is like a more of a modern term. It's not really used as such. You say, معنى الاستدراك فلان لا يدخل الجنة لسوء صنيعه. Fulan will not enter Jannah because of his evil actions. ألا أنه لا ييأس من رحمة الله. أي ألا أنه أي however. So this is more of a modern ta'bir. However. The meaning of however. ألا أنه however. Okay, so you can have these meanings. These are some secondary meanings of Allah. The primary meanings is isti'la, and all of the secondary meanings which have killing two birds with one stone. Understood? So we'll continue from here tomorrow, inshallah. Okay? Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.